In this video, you'll learn how to locate, edit, and submit an OG110 monthly disposition form. To locate the form, click on Forms, Online Forms, and we can find this form by either typing in OG110D in the search, using the advanced filtering, and placing that information in the form name, or by going to section 2 here, and we can see the OG110D monthly disposition form. From here, we type in the organization, type in the month, the year, and then we would provide a brief description for this form. Once that information has been inputted, we click Save and Continue, and this will bring us to section 2. Going back to section 1, just to be aware that organization, month, and year is set in stone for the specific form. If you find that you've accidentally submitted for the incorrect organization, incorrect month, or incorrect year, please start a new form with the correct information. However, as you notice that we are submitting for January 2021 and our description is incorrect. The description can be corrected by taking the online form ID, copying it, going to Forms, Online Forms, and then going to Forms in Progress. In Forms in Progress, we can use advanced filtering and put the form ID, and we can actually locate that form. Here you'll see the subject ID will be January 2021, for which we are submitting our data for, and we can see that our description is incorrect. To update that description, we click Actions, Edit Description, and we can input in the correct description for this form. If at any time we move away from our form, we can always go back to Forms in Progress to find our form and continue working. Here I'm going to click on our hyperlink. In section 3 of the form, EDD Submission, we can choose if we would like to submit the OG110D monthly disposition data using an electronic data deliverable, or EDD template. If you decide to download the template and use it, select Yes, download the EDD template. Once downloaded, you'll receive an Excel document for which we can input the data in. As you see at the bottom, we have 4 tabs. First is a cover page. The second, we'll be able to input in our information for the form. We have field descriptions and data descriptions. Going to the second tab, here at the top, we can input in the operator, operator code, report period, date report prepared, and report prepared by. The information that is inputted here is saved to the EDD and does not transfer into the actual form in Wellstar. Here on these tabs here, we can see our columns for which we have our fields, our field code, and our district. If you do notice that any of the information is incorrect, please contact your local district office to have that information verified. Here in these sections, we'll input in the gas used, oil used, and gas blown into the air. If we decide that only one field should be uploaded for this form, we can always delete one of the rows by selecting the row and clicking delete. Here we're going to go ahead and input information in for our form. Once saved, we can use this to upload into Wellstar. If you notice that any of this information you're not sure about, you can click on field descriptions to learn more about what needs to be inputted in. Data descriptions will tell you the district offices for which these fields belong to, and that information should be shown here. So again, we have saved our form. We're going to go back into Wellstar. We're going to browse for our form and upload it. Once we notice that the form is turned green, we can go ahead and select Next to go to Disposition Data. As you see here in yellow, it is letting you know that the EDD is still processing within Wellstar. Please select on the refresh button in just a little bit to make sure that all the data has been uploaded. As you see, one of our forms has been processed, and you can see that the status shows a warning error. It says that oil used is greater than 0. So if we notice that information is incorrect, we can always click Actions, Edit Data, and we can change this to 0 here. Once saved, you notice that we have a green check. Green checks denote that everything is filled out correctly. If we do receive a red X mark, that means that there is an error and the form will not be processed. So please make sure you have that information correct. Once all of this information is verified to be correct, we can go ahead and select Next to go on to document upload. For document upload, if you decide that any documents need to be updated for this form, we can click on Actions, Add New. We select the type, relevant date, description, and we browse for our file. If the form is already within Wellstar, we can actually associate an existing Wellstar document by finding the document ID and inputting that information here and uploading it directly. Once all the documents have been uploaded that are needed for this disposition form, go ahead and select Next to go to Form Submit. In this section, if there's any online forms that you'd like to associate to the OG110 monthly disposition, select Actions, Add Form, and find your form ID to add in. If you would like to add any comments for this form, here at the bottom, you're allowed to edit comments in here. Select Add. You'll notice that you have a date and timestamp, your name, your organization, and the comment. Here at the bottom, we can always preview the submission summary by selecting this button. Once we have reviewed and made sure that all the information in this form is correct, you know that it is true, correct, and complete, you can certify this by clicking the checkbox. You notice that your name will appear with the date received, and we submit the form. And that concludes the end of the OG110D monthly disposition form.